If you have a stuffed animal, maybe like, raise it up and shake it. I have a little elephant, so if you want to be super sentimental here, I bought this a year before my daughter was born in hopes that I would one day have a daughter. I had a little stuffed elephant growing up that my sister, who might or might not be in this room, left it outside in the snow one day, and so I brought it inside and put it in the microwave to warm it up, because that's what you do to warm up things, and half the side of the elephant's head exploded. I still slept with him. His name was Ellie. He was great. But this represents that little elephant that I had as a kid, and then a year later I got to give this little elephant to my now almost 13-year-old daughter. So that is the stuffing that I chose to bring today. But yours doesn't have to, wow, that's a very, is this a beaver? Is this an otter? What do we have here?
It was from the bin.
That is that's an otter.
I love
That is an awesome otter. Who knew? But if you need a stuffed animal, we have some extra ones. But we are excited to have Miss Adrian here today. She's going to introduce herself. So please be engaged. I know she has some activities and fun stuff to do. So let's make her feel welcome, please.
Are we good? Everyone hear me? Awesome! Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be here. I was telling the table I was sitting at that I've been able to speak at lots of MomCos this year. I have always spoken at my own MomCo. I was part of one in Surprise with Jamie Baker. And last year I started my business and I decided to start speaking, and this one is, and what you have here is super special. If you want to give the coordinators a big round of applause for putting this on, it's no easy task. And, okay. When I became pregnant about 17 years ago, crazy, I have a 16-and-a-half-year-old who drove me here today. When I got pregnant, I thought I was super prepared for parenthood. I thought because my brother and sister were a lot younger than me and I basically helped raise them, that I was going to have no issues whatsoever. And then I had spreadsheets. I remember the nurse, she was so sweet. When I was in labor, she looked at me and was like, "Oh, honey, just wait." And I'm like, she has no idea what she's talking about, because I am prepared. I have read all the books. I was ready to be a mom. Then my son was born, and that boy was not like a lot of babies here where you just hold them or they're in the strollers. No, he needed movement all the time. To get him to sleep, I remember my husband dripping with sweat because he would run up and down the steps 40 times to get that boy to sleep. He would not just sit on our laps. And then he went to daycare when I was working at Radiant Church up in Surprise. And daycare struggled with him as well. Timeouts don't work. This doesn't work. These consequences don't work. He just laughs at us. He just runs around and runs in circles. And I remember asking them, what do I do with this kid? At home, he would get in the living room, and it was just like he was a fool. And he would take off and try to hit himself or run into walls and try to knock himself out. This was not the motherhood that I was expecting, and my spreadsheets did not prepare me for this child that God blessed me with. I asked them, what do I do? What do I do with him? He's running into walls, he's jumping off stuff, climbing off things. I was terrified going to playgrounds because he was so friendly and very kind to other kids, and he still is. He actually goes here, and we come here together on Sundays. But he would pull kids off the playground. I was terrified because he was just so physical. And I would ask daycare providers, what do I do with him? Don't let him do it. Awesome. I wish they would have asked why. Why does this boy need constant movement? And from there, I read The Whole Brain Child by Dr. Van Siegel, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is it. Let's learn about the brain, let's learn about the sensory systems, Let's learn everything I can to be able to help him. And because when he had gone to regular school for a little while, which we didn't make him there for very long, because he did not fit in that box, I learned how to advocate for him because I learned, okay, this is what this boy needs in order to feel okay in his body. So that's how I got into this work. I'm a parent coach. I'm a mom of 3 neurodivergent boys. They're all twice exceptional. My middle one, if he had formal diagnosis, would probably have a laundry list of diagnoses. Autism, profoundly gifted. Has anyone seen the show Young Sheldon? I get to live with Young Sheldon, which is super fun. He's probably not as smart as Young Sheldon, but his brain is a human encyclopedia. I started my business last year, Raising Kids of Purpose. I've been writing, and my blog has been in existence since 2017. And I worked for Prenda, which is a microschool company that does a lot of the same kind of work. So I worked with them for 4 years, co-hosted their podcast, did a lot of parent trainings and workshops for teachers. And so then when I left in September of 2024, I decided, okay, Lord, use me in whatever way that you want so that I can help parents. There is a sign-up sheet, so here's some housekeeping stuff. So there's a sign-up sheet with a big QR code. So if you put your name on there, that's going to enter you into the giveaway. I have a couple of giveaways up here. If you want to sign up for my newsletter, I send lots of parenting tips and lots of fun things every week. I just launched a podcast, so I send the episodes on there. You can put your email, or if it's easier, you can just scan that QR code and sign up, and you'll get the freebies right away. The freebies are a How to Raise Kids with Purpose guide, and then there's also a playful parenting scripts and more playful parenting freebies for you to be able to practice these things that you're going to learn today at home. This is what we're going to talk about today. How many of you have kids who just do exactly what you tell them to? Woo! Over there. Let's give her a round of applause. No. My youngest is 9. He's super playful, and bath time. Man, it's so hard to get him into the bath at night. So I'm always coming up with different playful things to do. So this was a couple weeks ago, and he was just refusing to go get a bath and get ready for bed. So I thinking quick on my feet, because I'm playing all the time. 10 seconds, come find me, and I go run, and I go in my closet, and I am next to a bunch of blankets, and I'm just standing there. He comes in, he cannot find me. You guys, my legs were sticking out on the bottom, and he could not find me. And I'm just sitting there, like, breathing, like, okay, how much longer am I going to be in here? And then my dogs, thank the Lord, my dogs started sniffing me. And then he sees me, and I'm like, ah! And he's so excited, he's laughing hysterically. And then, one more time. Okay, so he runs out, count to 10. I jump in the bathtub, and I'm like laying in the bathtub. And then he comes in, he finds me laughing hysterically. One more time. Okay, one more time for real. And then I go into the shower, and I'm tucked up into the shower. And then he comes in, finds me, goes right to the bath, gets ready for bed. And that took maybe 2 minutes of me hiding in my closet. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how do we turn really tough moments into play, because we're going to learn also how play turns on the brain and how it is the absolute best parenting tool that you can use. If you have teenagers, I have 2 teenagers, play is your number 1 tool for teenagers too. When I first started talking to the leadership about coming to speak, I was like, oh, play is probably for little kids. So play is your number 1 tool for older kids as well. So my son, he tends to not do his laundry whenever laundry needs to get done, or he usually has lots of food and all sorts of things in his bedroom. And so if I come in, will you please do your laundry, or will you, your room is disgusting. And he just looks at me, no, goes back to whatever he's doing. But if I come in this way, hello, oh my goodness, you have clothes all over the floor. He looks at me like I'm crazy, but guess what? As soon as I leave, the laundry gets done almost 100% of the time. Because I'm doing it through play versus being an Abby mom. Okay, how many of you here love to play? What did you say? Yes? I take life too seriously, so no. Okay, so how many of you have 0 to 5? Okay, what about 6 to 10? And what about 11 to adult? Okay, so we have a lot of littles here, and that's the best time to really start being playful. So I have parenting programs. I work with parents. They usually come to me if they're just super exhausted, burnout, frustrated, their kids don't listen, or I specialize in working with parents with kids with really, really hard behaviors. And even through teenagers that are doing very risky behaviors, all the way down to little kids that really struggle with emotional regulation. And so whenever I start a session, I always start with a grounding exercise. So I'm going to do that today so we can come into this room together and be present. You want to take a nice deep breath in. You can close your eyes if you would like, and I'm going to read this scripture. And then as I'm reading this, really embody it. Really feel it. Okay, so take a nice deep breath in. Whenever you take a deep breath in, it's going to be quicker. You hold at the top and then release it nice and slow. The Lord is my strength and my shield. I trust him with all of my heart. He helps me and fills my heart with joy. I burst out in songs of thanksgiving. Okay, this next slide, I'm going to invite you all to stand up. We're going to start playing. If you have babies or kids, they can join you. Please do not leave the room. The very first time I did this, half of the room left. Please do not leave. Even if you stay in your own spot, that's totally fine. Okay, hit it. Okay, we're going to just move our bodies. Here we go. Stretch. Oh, just feel what it feels like to be alive. Okay, start dancing. Interact with each other. Give each other a high five. Come on, get moving. Go around the room. Come on. Don't stay at your table. Run around the room. We got this. Here we go. Let's move. Okay, so turn to someone near you and share how you feel.
Out of shape.
I feel my heart beating out of my chest. I love this quote by Bart Miller. He is the leader of Mercy Me. When you truly understand grace and trust that the gospel was for you, how could you sit still? It was harder to get you guys moving around the room, though, maybe because there's so many of you. And thank you for those who are really getting into it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to play together. I won't make you dance again, so don't worry. Well, there's something kind of like dancing. And we're going to learn together, and we're going to discover how play can transform both with your child's behavior and your relationship with kids. Because we know that play is super important for kids to do, right? Imaginative play, they learn through play, but where we miss it is when we become adults, we kind of forget that play is our first language too. And that is the number one way to connect with your kids and to get them to listen, and the number one tool for discipline. Okay, so this is super fascinating. Is a child's brain needs 400 repetitions. 400 repetitions in order to form a new connection in their brain. So whenever you're like, why do I have to repeat myself so many times? It's neuroscience, it's the way God created them. We need to repeat. However, now I don't know if I truly believe that it's only 10 to 20 repetitions, but through play, you don't have to repeat yourself nearly as much. Who's all bought on the play now? And what's interesting is play is using the brain's preferred method of learning. So when we get into our stern voice or lecturing or consequences or punishments, that's very foreign to the brain. And then as the brain develops and matures and grows, then we kind of forget to come back to play. And play, what it does is it turns on the frontal lobe, which is really cool. It also activates memory, problem solving, emotional control. For kids that really struggle with emotional regulation, play is the number one tool to help them learn how to regulate. And this is for all ages and abilities. I just spoke to a group not that long ago in Paradise Valley, and the mom has a son who is in a wheelchair, and he has lots of cognitive delays. He had brain injuries at birth. And I was looking it up before I joined, and even especially with brain injuries, especially with cognitive delays, play is the number one way to connect with those kids and help them build language and build lots of amazing skills. Okay, so this is the track we'll get into. So how many of you in the last 48 hours have said any of these things? Stop that. Don't do that. Get your shoes on. How many times do I have to tell you, why can't you just listen? No. So what happens, and this is a very American culture thing, because I'm working with families from all over the world, and this is something that is very prominent in our culture, and even just the way our schools are set up, the way our parents were raised. It was very much in a, the adult says to do something and the child needs to respect. But the problem with that is that's not looking at brain development. And so we get to this connection trap where we go to correct behavior, kids resist, we correct again, the disconnection happens, and then the behaviors escalate. And the reason why is because there's a difference between a work approach to behavior and a play approach to behavior. With the work approach, it focuses on outcomes and consequences. How do I get them to do X? How do I get my child to stop running into walls? The problem with that is kids can't think in outcomes. This blew my mind learning about brain development. Is they aren't like, oh, if I do this thing, my mom's going to be upset. Or if I don't do this thing, they can't think in outcomes. They don't have the cognitive skills yet. Has anyone ever walked into a room and a kid had just done something, you're like, what the heck were you thinking? They stand there and look at you. They weren't thinking. The frontal lobe was not online. And so that's why the work approach does not work. And then also, it treats kids like little workers and assumes that they're thinking and cause and effect. That's a skill that I'm just really not working with my autistic 13-year-old. Is when you do this, this is the effect of that, and this is how it affects you. And then also, it makes discipline feel like hard work for parents who like nagging or yelling at their kids all day long. And what that ends up doing is it causes us to be more reactive instead of responsive, and then we're not able to be in relationship in the way that God created us to be in relationship. And then also the problems with this is that there are also developmentally blind to consequences, and they also really struggle with futility. Also, consequences do not address the root cause. Anyone know what the root cause of behavior? two main root causes. Okay, lack of connection, need. So there's an unmet need. What's that? Curiosity. So it's a lagging skill. They're born with all of the emotions and none of the skills. And the problem with consequences and punishments is they don't teach a skill. We think they do, but if you think back, and every time you give your kid the same consequence for the same behavior, how many times do you have to do that over and over and over? Instead, we want to teach the skill, and this can take years for them to develop and play. Less repetitions. Play is the best way to do that. Okay, so here are all the other root causes of behavior. There's also a sheet on your table. And in the top box, if you haven't yet, you're going to write like some tough behaviors that that some of your kids have or that you struggle with. And then here are the root causes of behavior. So immaturity, the skill gap, connection, lack of relationship, energy release, sensory. Sensory is a big part of it that I had never even heard of that word when my son was born. Now it just seems to be everywhere. Control, autonomy, lack of a healthy alarm system. So there's lack of connection. That's why now they know about technology. Like babies through 6 or 7 years old should not have a handheld device because what it's doing is creating all those neural connections in the limbic center and the emotional center. Talk to any kindergarten teacher who's been teaching for 10, 15 years and they'll tell you that the emotions are like off the charts now. It's because they're not seeing neural connections up to the frontal lobe. And we want neural connections up here. This is where the frontal lobe is where the thinker brain is what I like to call it. Logic, reasoning. That's where we want kids to be so that they can make good choices and start to learn and think in outcomes. So play is the gateway to connection, the social engagement system. That is like our best, where we feel really, really good. That is what's called ventral vagal, your connection system. Learning, this is where they develop skills through play and learn, and then cooperation. So the magic formula is the more you play, the more connection they get, and then the less correction that's needed. And again, this is for kids of all ages. But if you have little ones and you do this from the moment they're really little, it's so much easier when they get older because they're just used to you being a monkey all the time. Okay, so here is the play. So it's the path to cooperation. So many of us have heard the scripture of children obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth. You should stop there. The next scripture is do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. And so I think this is a big part of it. It doesn't say it exactly in scripture, but it's like play. Play is the number one way to be able to do this. Here's all the things that play does. It does so much. The science of play is so fascinating. It's literally building that thinker part of the brain that we want to be online so that we can make good choices. And it also changes us too. It's not just about the kids. When we play and we're connecting with our kids through play, I mean, I feel so much better when I'm an old lady than when I'm a nagging mom with my teenager. It turns our social engagement system on as well. And it creates oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone. So it has lots and lots of benefits for us. So I have a play with purpose class, and right at the beginning we talk about barriers to play. A lot of you did not raise your hand when I said, do you like to play? There's probably a lot of barriers. One of the moms had gone through my program. She had said that she can't stand playing with Barbies, and she has 2 kids. And what we discovered is whenever she turned 10, her parents said, you're too old for that, and they literally threw her Barbies away. So whenever, she didn't even know, subconsciously, that's why she didn't like playing with Barbies. She wasn't ready to get rid of her Barbies at 10. And she has a little bit of wounds, a play wound. And so we were able to work on that. And she's like, well, but I don't like to come up with the voices. I don't like to think of what to do. Grab a book. Use whatever's in the book and just act like that's the voice of the characters. And so, little by little, she started to fall back in love with play. Okay, so then there's also lots of other benefits of play. It turns on mirror neurons. We're going to do a little activity here, so if you can look at someone at your table, if you're okay with grabbing their hands, it does work better. A couple times, or the last time I spoke, I saw people getting hand sanitizer out. So if you want to grab hands with each other, and you're going to look at each other in the eyes, okay? And you're going to just take some slow, deep breaths at first. And then you're just going to laugh. Look at each other in the eyes and just start laughing. Look at each other in the eyes and just start laughing. It's best if you just do like one or like three. Okay. Do you feel that? Now really lock eyes. Don't look at people around the table. Really lock eyes. Now listen, you ready? You are going to yell at each other. And just take a nice slow breaths together. And see if you can feel your energy. Now these are mirror neurons at work. Now imagine, this is how our kids are built to look to us, and they catch more than what we teach, right? And it's because of mirror neurons. I love doing this at night. If my kid is crazy, I will just lay right next to his body, and I'll take slow, deep breaths, and I hijack his nervous system, and because his body will just start following. It's like the coolest thing ever. I'll try it tonight. Okay, so here's the biggest difference. Traditional parenting teaches us when we have a behavior, we need to correct that behavior, then usually we have resistance, power struggle, disconnection, more behaviors. And now we don't always see that because we have kids who are rule followers. But usually what happens is something's happening inside. If they feel like they don't have autonomy, they're just following the rules and they're just doing what you say. And then usually their brain gets flooded with stress. Not all the time. Now they want to do that thing, that's fine, right? And then you have kids like my kids who are not rule followers at all. And this absolutely does not work. And that's why I really struggled at the beginning. And then with play-based parenting, you connect through play, then you get cooperation, typically less resistance, easier boundaries, and then a stronger relationship. Okay, so now we're actually going to play a little bit more together. So we're going to do what I call play language speed dating. I do this in my Play with Purpose class, and we're only going to test out 3 of the play languages. A lot of people say that they hate play because they're not speaking their own play language. There's a long list of play languages that I will get to in the next slide. So this is why I asked you all to bring stuffed animals. If you do need one, there's some more up here at the front of the stage. And so for this first one, we are going to test out fantasy and imagination. On your handout, there is a rating on the bottom for you to rate how it feels. Okay, so for this first one, you are going to bring your character to life. So give your stuffed animal a name, a personality. Okay, you have that locked in. Okay, so then you are going to create a mini adventure with the stuffed animals at your table, and you cannot use your real voice. You have to use the stuffed animal voice. Go.
Hi there, my name is Leo. Nice to meet you all.
What's our story? Are they matching? God, I like
I'm Amelia.
So
the next play language is learning and teaching. So you're going to think of something, maybe just have one or two people at your tables go. Think of something that you can teach in like a minute. And it can be anything from a grocery hack, or how to get kids to eat healthy, a laundry system, if you have professional knowledge in special education or photography, marketing, real estate, anything that you do for a profession, any interesting facts that you want to teach about, space, animals, history. Okay, go ahead. So two people, they just want to teach at your table.
You're the teacher, so we have at least one teacher. Just regular.
Leo's right on there.
That is interesting.
And you don't have to use your animal voice. If you are still using animals, you can use your real voice. Okay, would anyone like to teach to the whole room? Something quick hack or something they'd like to share with the whole room. Anyone want to go? Okay, here we go. Everyone's pointing. Do you stand up? Okay, you can sit down, but be nice and loud. Why? Can you imagine having 300 babies with you? Oh wow! Well, everyone give her a round of applause. Way to go! That was awesome. Okay, now great. If you weren't the one teaching, think about, do you like teaching things? I'm guessing there's probably a lot of homeschool moms in this room too. So great if you like to teach or to be taught, if you like to learn. This would be a play language of yours. You're learning or teaching. Okay, so now this one, I'm going to have you stand up again. We're not going to dance, but everyone stand up. So this one is quirky silliness. And since the room is so big, we're going to kind of do this in sections. So we'll do this half of the room if you want to go to that corner over there. If you're able to, if you have babies and you can stay this way. And then this, maybe because you guys can make a path through here. So everyone kind of gather towards that back. So just kind of go one part of the room.
Are you gonna go? Well, it looks like a. I know.
Okay, so this is quirky silliness. So you're getting like a big, I guess that works. So what you're gonna do is you go one after another person. So you can figure out what that looks like. And you're gonna come across the room. We just need to be able to see people. So we are going to do your absolute best silly walk. Okay? So you can be like Monty Python, you can be ridiculous, you can flap your arms, you can be an animal. Okay, so who would like to just start? Maybe do like a few people at a time so we can see the fun silly walks. There we go. There we go. We can cheer for each other. There we go. Oh yeah. We got it. We can cheer for each other. Nice. Come on, this side of the room. You do your best silly walk. There we go. Okay, so and then this one's really fun. Okay, can everyone hear me? This one's super fun. So now you're going to talk to each other using gibberish. Mima, mima, bala, 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 oh, my God. No real words. Just have a conversation. Okay, go ahead and rate that. Do you like organic silliness? Is that one of your languages? Okay, so then here's all the other play languages. Caretaking, art and creativity, action and leadership, touch and coziness. You like to just be at home and just be cozy. That is a play language. That is a way to connect with your kids. Big movement, that's one of my play languages. Adventure, exploration, you like to go hiking, biking, snorkeling. I don't know where you go snorkeling in the desert, but if you like to do all those types of things, that would be one of your play languages. So this is why I love order and structure, like playing games. Someone said there's going to be pickleball. That is my go-to. My 9-year-old loves playing pickleball. We set up a little court on our front porch, and if he's like, Mom, play with me, Mom, play with me, we go out and play pickleball. I get my body moving. I know he likes it. We have fun together. So I would like it when it's more order and structure. I like playing board games because I can follow the rules. However, with my middle son, it's a little hard to play games because you cannot stray away from the rules at all. It's very rigid. And so you may not like play because you're thinking play is just imagination. And like I said, I do have a 4-week character class. I have a coupon code for you guys at the end. There's 4 other ways to use play. We're going to practice a little bit more. And it is through connection play, body play for regulation. So moving your body, that is the best way. If you are losing your mind and you can't stop yelling at your kids, or you're so reactive and you feel guilty after, move your body. There's lots of things you can do, even like this. I mean, it's hard to yell when you're doing this too, like just put your arms up. It's really hard to yell. Jumping up and down. If you are shut down, what's called dorsal vagal, you're completely shut down and you just have no energy to do anything. I do snow angels on my cold tile. Just move my body. So body movement for regulation, and obviously this is really helpful for kids, especially if they have certain sensory needs. And then healing play for hard behaviors. Storytelling. This is such an amazing way. If your kid had a really struggle, like a hard time that day, process it through reading a story together and then talk about the characters and apply what you're reading to your child. That is a form of play. And then we also have using play as discipline, and discipline needs to teach. That's teaching them a skill, teaching them how to do chores, how to follow instructions. Play is the #1 way to be able to get kids to listen and to learn. Okay, so we're going to practice a few of the playful discipline, and if you signed up for the newsletter, you will get the playful scripts, which has some of these on there. And so imagine like you're trying to get your kids out the door. Share with me, what do you normally do when you're trying to get your kids out the door? What does that look like? Do you use play? Does someone share? Anyone want to share? A timer. That's awesome. Yeah. A pretend timer. I love it. A race. You race to the car? Who can do the fastest? That's awesome. So here's a really good idea. So you can be a race car driver. So everyone just practice. You can use your stuffed animals like they're your kid. First, go put your shoes on. You know, the crew is putting on the tires, vroom, vroom. Go ahead and pretend like you're a race car pit crew. To get your kids to get their shoes on out the door. You can practice that.
So do you guys have anything funny to do besides put shoes on, let's go?
and put their empty lunchbox on the counter. Pretty simple. There was one time my son refused to do it. And instead of like, no, you're going to do this right now, I'm going to take this away, I'm going to threaten all these things, which is, the environment that I grew up in, it's like, I'm going to be a robot. He needs autonomy right now. He needs to be in control right now. And so I can give him a little bit of control through play. I'm still the leader, and I'm still leading, but I'm going to give him what he's needing right now. So I said, I'm a robot. In order to get my body moving, you have to do things to your lunchbox. So he opened up the lunchbox, and I would start moving more, and then he would press buttons, and I would grab it, and then move it, and then he would press buttons on my back, and I'd walk over, take the lunchbox. We took everything out together. He's laughing hysterically. He went from, no, I'm not doing this, to putting his lunchbox away in his backpack. It was so much more fun. Or on my Instagram, you probably have to scroll down a little bit. I have a video of he was refusing to pack lunch one day. So I let him throw food at me. It was so much fun. I took the lunch container, and he was across the kitchen, and he started throwing food. And then my phone was nearby, so I set it up and recorded it. And then we were doing this thing with a knife, and he got a little crazy with the knife. I did have to ring it a little bit, but I just turned it into play. And it took us 5 minutes to pack lunch versus a power struggle of probably a half hour of him refusing to pack lunch. We made it fun and made it easy. And what's interesting is when I'm struggling and I'm grumpy and I'm not wanting to do what I need to do, my son will be like, hey, why don't you blow this balloon, Mom? Or he turns it into play and helps me come out of my grumpy mode and turn it into play, which is super fun. Here's a really quick, if you're really, really upset, or again, struggle with anger, or struggle with getting frustrated with your kids, maybe that looks like running away or imploding instead of exploding. Something that you can do to try to turn this part of your brain on that makes you feel better is pretend, everyone can do this, pretend like you're sucking in a balloon of helium, and then say the same thing to your kid, you guys get your shoes on, and you're sucking helium. Do what helium is. Go ahead, say something that you normally tell your kids, and suck in the balloon, and then speak as if it's helium. I told you guys, it's so much harder to get angry if you're trying to say helium in your mouth.
Yeah, it's not, I don't do it all.
Here's another one, you can have like this secret agents. Okay, so then what happens when play doesn't work? What if, so who here has tried play and it makes your kid way more dysregulated or way more upset? So there's nuance to this. You need to meet them where they're at. One of my favorite things to play when my youngest was 3 or 4 and he was screaming his head off in the car seat, I would come over and go, I see your anger. I'm going to take it. Where should I put it? And he would tell me the birds or tell me, to give it to the parking lot. And then one time we were at the movie theater in Avondale. I will never forget this. And I was like, oh, I hear the anger. The anger's coming out of your mouth. What should I do with it? And he looks around and he points at me. So I grab it and I eat it. And I started acting just like him. Oh my gosh, immediately he started laughing hysterically. As soon as you can get laughter, that means that you are moving what's happening in their brain over to what we want to be online. And so it can be super simple. If it's dysregulating them more, maybe they need a hug. Maybe they need some deep pressure. Maybe you ask them whenever they are calm, like what would help you? What would be a playful game that we can play that would make you feel better and not keep screaming at me? Boundaries still matter. I have a setting boundaries with purpose, okay? Boundaries should not just be obsolete or rules just have rules. Boundaries should be connected to our values. And in my podcast, I only have 6 episodes out right now, but I talk really deep in 2 episodes about family values. If you want to check that out, it's called the Raising Kids with Purpose podcast. And then start small. Especially if you feel like play feels uncomfortable to you, you may have some barriers. And if play is really, really uncomfortable for you, that is what I do in the Play with Purpose class. And it also comes with some live classes, so we practice these things as well. So in summary, playful parenting matters because your kids don't need you to be perfect. They don't need you to do everything right. What they need is your presence, and for you to delight in them, and for your willingness to connect. Children are a gift. They are a gift from the Lord, and they are a reward from Him. So play literally is the glue that helps us feel like they're truly a reward and not just a pain. And that's how you can find joy in motherhood. And even with my teenager, I was thinking about this week. I had asked him before, because some of his friends work here in childcare. So can I share some stories? And he used to be able to do a backflip on the trampoline, and he lost it. Well, he just went to KTR, he got his backflip back, but he's on our trampoline, he can't do it. He's like, Mom, it's 10:30 at night. Mom, will you come and help me with my backflip on the trampoline? My first reaction was like, no, I want to go to bed. But I was like, my 6-year-old's asking me to connect with him through play. He's not saying that, but that is what that is. I go out and we're jumping together, we're laughing hysterically because he cannot do a backflip on our own trampoline. Or, again, old lady, or the other night, he was actually with a cave. I walked in and he was like, oh. So instead of being like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I started acting like a cave woman. And he was like, Mom, will you stop? So play will look very different, and it's obviously easier whenever your kids are younger, but it is such a gift. Other ways that I can support you, so if you want to join the Play with Purpose class, so the way it is, it's a go at your own pace. There's 4 weeks to go into barriers. There's a big, long assessment to figure out what your play language is. We talk about lots of different ways on how to connect. I have a whole ages and stages guide if it's really hard for you to play with teenagers. You can scan that, the MomCo 50 will get you $50 off of that, and then come like April, May, I will do a live 4-week class. It's virtual, we do it on Google Meet, and you don't just come and learn more, we practice, so that it can be second nature to you, and you really start to, and it's a really cool community to share with each other what works and what doesn't work. And then I also have a Stop the Fighting, if your kids are constantly fighting. So excited about this toolkit. It is a loaded. I went through my own parent training to figure out, because I'm a parent coach with my kids who want to stop fighting, and all this connection and play is not working, and it's because I unintentionally was taking sides 100% of the time. And so this Stop the Fighting toolkit is really, really awesome if you struggle with your kids fighting all the time and it's driving you bananas. And you can scan that, and then I will send all this to you as well as sign up for the newsletter. And then I will pick just a number if you sign up on the sheet. So if you want to look at your sheets, let's do number 33 and 22. So look at the sheet, see if anyone signed up for those numbers. And if not, let me know, I give you other numbers. No? Anyone see 22 or 33 on your paper? The sheet, the sign-up sheet for the newsletter. Oh, you guys, you don't have one. Okay. So, how should we do the giveaway then? Or some creative ways? You're 133? Maybe we'll do like a random draw at the end or something, Danielle, and then I'll give you the stuff to give away. Does that work? Okay, awesome. Okay, so then I also offer parenting support, and then I just became an ESA vendor last week. We've been an ESA family for 8 years, and so I'm able to do social and emotional communication, but you go through the parent coaching program, so it is parent education, and then there's other stuff to do with the kid, and then I coach the child and your husband. I'm super excited. I'm building that program out right now. Just have a few people that have joined. And so here's all the things. I'm on Instagram. If I don't post a lot, that means I have a lot going on in my life. I have a lot of hate relationship with social media, but I have some fun reels on there. And then my website, and then my new podcast that you can listen to. And then also, if you would like to sign up for a parent support call, you can come up here. I'll just put it on stage, and it's a free call. If you have stuff going on that you're like, I could really use some support or help, or or bounce things off. You know, a lot of parents that come to me too have kids that really struggle with emotions or sleep, or just they don't know, like the traditional methods just do not work. And so if you want to discuss, you can sign up. You can also scan to find a time right on my calendar, or you can put your information on here when you would like to meet. I'll put this down here. And then last, okay, so turn to someone, give them a high five, and tell them they're amazing.
You're amazing.
Okay, then you're going to fist bump and say, we've got this.
We got this.
And then we're going to do jazz hands. Play is my superpower. Okay, then you have discussion questions at the back side of your handout on the bottom. And it's how to turn play into your superpower. So if you wrote down some hard behaviors, you're going to discuss those, give lots of details, talk about what the root cause and think of those behaviors are, and then give each other some playful solutions. And that's it. Thank you so much.